Welcome back. The SPCA says New Year's Eve fireworks have left many animals in distress. It's further saying that aside from the distress, many animals are hurt while fleeing in fear. It also affects wildlife, with many birds abandoning nests, leaving young birds vulnerable. Now, there have also been reports of birds flying into buildings. But for all this, we're now joined by NSPCA Spokesperson Keshvi Nair. Thank you so much for your time, Keshvi. Good morning to you. Looking back, of course, at this recent, New Year's, any incidents that were, reported that you would like to highlight?
Well, nothing specific. One thing that I will say is that every single year, without fail, after the holiday season, we see an increase in animals that are admitted into the care of our societies across the country. And this year was no different. Many of these animals are stray animals because they flee from the fireworks, as you say. And many of those animals are injured, mostly from car accidents because they run into the road in a state of panic and shock. So they get hit by cars and get injured severely. Others also get injured when they try to escape through fences and palisades and they injure themselves there. So nothing specifically, but apart from the fact that these animals, most of them are injured as a result from fleeing.
And I suppose sensitize South Africans about why there's an important conversation to have when having fireworks and also, animals and pets around. I mean, why do animals usually react this way to fireworks?
Well, I think one of the main reasons is the fact that most animals hear things on a much higher level than we do. So what sounds like a normal bang to us may sound 10 times louder for animals. And I mean, I think another thing that you can do is just put yourself into perspective. I'm sure most of us have been in the situation where we're sitting at a mall or at a restaurant and someone is celebrating their birthday and a balloon pops and automatically you jump, you get a fright. Right. And I mean, if that's how you react to just a balloon popping, you can imagine how it must be for animals when they hear things on a much higher level than we do, first of all, and then for them to try and comprehend what is going on. And most animals, domestic animals and farm animals, some wild animals as well. I mean, you mentioned birds. Most of these animals, their defense is flight mode. So they're not going to stand there and think, okay, now is the time for me to fight. Their defense mechanism is flight. They run away, they flee.
And what's the responsible way, do you suggest, to, I suppose, enjoy your festive season, your New Year's, especially if you're someone that has fireworks, and I'm sure that gets kids excited at some point in some families, but also while you have pets or even pets in your community, how would you then suggest or even recommend to those listening and watching our conversation do this responsibly?
Well, I think one thing to say is that just because something is done doesn't mean it's something that should be done. And so when it comes to fireworks, I think people just need to take that step towards being compassionate and thinking about more than just themselves and the fun that they are going to have. Think about how it affects animals and other people for that matter. I mean, it's not just animals. Think about people that have went to war, and when they hear this, the shock that they go through as well. So first of all, just take that step to be a compassionate and kind human being and think about other people. This is a small act of kindness that will go a long way. And for pet owners, I think it's just a matter of being responsible and being proactive. You know that fireworks are going to be used, and every single year when fireworks are going to be used for whatever celebration it is, whether it's New Year's or Guy Fawkes or whatever the case is, we make a point of going onto social media, going to the public and putting out tips for pet owners especially, on how to prepare and how to be proactive in terms of preparing their pets for fireworks.
All right, Keshvi, I appreciate this conversation. Quite an important one to have as well. Keshvi Nair, obviously from the NSPCA, just advising there to please be responsible but also be compassionate, especially to these animals in distress, especially around this time. Really a sight that you don't want to see.